Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of these lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. Oh my goodness. I am checking things off that to-do list. Like, seriously. I don't know where the energy has come in the past 2 days because it hasn't been around for quite a while, but I am feeling so good in this moment, exhausted, but feeling good because I feel the movement. Maybe it was in that little bit of decompressing that I had to do that, I was made to feel the way I do because, when you've got the flu or you're sick or, you know, you have big worries on the mind, that quite often it can stall you out. I talk a lot about sometimes making these choices for ourselves so that we don't get that crank, we don't get that shutdown in our lives. And and I just kind of look at it quite often, when I'm not making a movement. I don't look at it that sometimes we need to stop. And today I was thinking about it, right? That, those signs are there to slow down. But it is my nature, it's my upbringing. You could call it the programming, that you get that sense that you're not supposed to stop, right? That you feel pretty good. I am grateful for my good health. And, when I see people around me or people I've never met before, even going online and seeing people with these conditions, that's all I'm going to call them, conditions, because we all have handicaps. But those handicaps look so different for each of us. And sometimes they're noticeable, sometimes they're not noticeable, and we don't give consideration to somebody who might have a hard time. That's why it's so important to talk. That's why it's so important to communicate. If I get nothing from building my brand, I get building myself. And I couldn't imagine what I would give in my life, because I don't think that there is anything in my life besides my life that would be worth giving up what I have gotten in the past half a dozen years of my life. It could have been a totally different story. And in the moment, it's funny that I say that, even because in the moment, it kind of looks like that life that I could have had, right? But that's never going to happen again. I have learned to ride the waves. I have learned to understand that tomorrow's coming. So no matter what the struggle, no matter what the heartbreak, whatever that pain is in the moment, that, I'm just going to pay attention. But I'm going to pay attention in that regards to those things that sometimes are the opposite from what I do in my real life. A lot of it is in the people pleasing. It was one of the big reasons why I had to give up the job that I was putting the roof over my head, because it didn't matter what I give. There was always that want, need, demand for more without that consideration for what I was already bringing to the table. And I was bringing extra. It's my nature to bring extra, right? Yeah, I had to whip that rug out because, it was disadvantages, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't serving me in any way. And anything I was bringing to the table was being absorbed into the whole, I guess, and that's good. I am a team player. I am. But I'm not a big believer in free paychecks. And I am a big believer in credit where credit is due. I understand in the topics that I delve into and stuff. That's the way it is. But just because that's the way it is, it doesn't mean that's the way it's supposed to be. In the creation of the best human being I possibly can be, right? I need to be in surroundings and I need to be around other humans and souls that, respect that and live that way themselves, that we could give so much to each other. We could lift each other so much up when, right? So many people are down, and it has been, right? It's not one of my 54 powerful words, cooperation, but it is popping up like a lighthouse, like a lighthouse. And, I have to take those lessons in for myself, right? But if I can't even take the lessons to take care of myself, to take it easy, to keep moving, to keep accomplishing, right, to get that done, to beat myself up because I'm not getting even more done, or feeling guilty because there are people out there in worse situations that I have ever been in. And I've been into some scary, tight situations in my life. Grateful that I've been able to wrangle myself out, pull myself up, right? Bite the bullet, bite my tongue. And it is in those recognitions of when and where to do that I've managed to get to where I am now, right? But like I said yesterday, I feel good. I feel at my best when I get things accomplished. And I got 5 big things accomplished in the past 24 hours. Not little things, big things that are going to have a residue that will make me feel better, that will make me feel lighter. We're talking walk-in closets, we're talking hallway closets, we're talking sorting out camping equipment, cleaning out the walk-in closet and being able to make a little bit of space in there so at the very least I can get my laundry basket in there. Oh my goodness. Hello, Hannah. Did you just get monetized? I have been monetized, believe it or not, Hannah, for over 9 years. I have been, but I am in the lessons. And not only am I in the lessons, I'm in lessons in topics that are, right, not, what are you going to see, viral, aren't viral, not yet. I do believe, though, at some point in what I'm doing, it'll be the cool thing. I'm grateful I got in when I did, right? But like I said, if I got nothing out of it, right? I got my own sense of freedom, and that's what it is, because I'm the captain behind that steering wheel now for the first time in my life, right? And one of those biggest lessons I ever had was in people pleasing. And in this moment, I recognize that I need to feel good. I need to I need to feel positive. I need to feel lighter, and I need to feel that everything is still moving forward. And so being able to do something that makes me feel that way, because that heaviness, that clutterness, those cleaning projects that I have been neglecting because I've been working full time and then coming in and right, and in the schooling I'm like full time too. And then trying to have a little bit of life and in practicing those skills that I pick up along the way, do some experimenting in those experiences and those adventures that I put together. And they might seem minuscule, right? To some, but to me, they're everything, right? Because this is not pocket change to me, right? What I'm doing with my brand, what I'm doing with my life, what I'm doing in that movement I'm making for myself, it's important. And so you can tell that I'm trying to be a little bit selfish. And lots of people would think that I'm selfish anyway, and everybody gets to have that judgment in themselves. It takes all kinds to make the world, and that is the truth. And a lot of people are not even trying, right? They're not even trying. And so I have to boost myself up in every way, right? Emotionally, mentally. And, if I do that extra, that I know I will feel accomplished, and that sense of accomplishment will make me feel good only because it's in the programming. It's there. It works. I know it does, right? It could have been something unhealthy where I don't get anything accomplished or spend a lot of money or, I don't know, make myself so spaced out, right? Or drink lots that I can't even take lessons. I'm not even what do you got? I'm not even taking in the lessons. I'm not even absorbing them, right? But we all have handicaps and we all do the very best that we can. And even knowing that maybe, right, I didn't listen to myself, right? That I didn't take it easy. It's boring. It's boring. I'm in a boring stage right now because I'm used to moving, like physically moving. And, I'm finding myself that I'm delving into those things that I get that sense of accomplishment in. It's still movement, right? As long as I'm adding in those other goals, those other projects and lessons and experiences that I haven't had yet, but I'm moving towards, and the ones I'm having now that I've never had before, and they weren't even on the plate, right? They weren't even scripted in, and yet they're there. So those are all added in too. And so I gotta be I have to be proud of what I'm getting it done. I have to take not just the lessons for myself, but these were some of the very first lessons that I came into, in entrepreneurship and building my brand and getting my channel monetized, right? That, it was a process for me to learn that. And I have to remind myself how far I've come. Like I said, lots of people don't even try, right? And I'm a baby boomer, you guys, right? How many baby boomers are going online? I know it's a little bit more now, right? since the COVID. It has been a lot better, right? Because grandparents wouldn't have been able to see their kids and their grandkids, right? When we were all locked down like that, they didn't have a choice but to learn to do Zoom calls and use Messenger and, right, entertain themselves in, I hopefully not just entertain themselves. I call what I'm doing entertaining myself too because it makes me happy. But I make movement from what I'm doing, and it is in that anticipation that movement I'm making for myself will come in quite useful in helping others to make a little bit of movement for themselves too, right? But I don't want to be the guinea pig, right? I don't want to be a guinea pig in that. I want to do it slow. I want to do it with a nice healthy mix of Cindy and those other parts of me and my family, right? And those responsibilities in my life to keep that roof over my head, right? That's a big mishmash. No wonder people just want to lay on the couch with the remote control or play video games all day, right? The world is a stressful place, but that's where we build resilience, right? In that determination just to keep moving, keep accomplishing, right? And, and just be optimistic, just like those senior citizens who weren't able to see their grandkids and their kids, right, when we got locked down, that somehow, right, in a 90-degree turn, because they could have slowly taken some steps and been right on top of it by the time they had to learn it, right? And they probably didn't learn it right away because of their stubbornness and that technology and right, I'm not doing that. They could use the phone, and then you don't get to see your kids, you don't get to see the grandkids. But once you're in it and you start learning it, it just becomes easier and easier and easier. And that's how I started my channel, right? It took me over a year just to come in front of the camera. It took me over a year to do that. It's all in that process, right? And some people they'll rush through it, and in a couple of years they're up and running. But how much do you absorb in those couple of years? I understand because I absorb too. I know you can absorb an awful lot. But can you imagine if you did it in 10 years, or you were able to appreciate who you are, right? Wake up to who you were young and then be able to start making those transitions towards the person that you would like to become, rather than just spending those years, right, turning into somebody that somebody expected you to become, right? And we know not everybody has great expectations for us, right? Very few of us. They have hopes, they have dreams, especially, parents for their children. They always want to do better by their children, even if it's not always possible, right? But it takes only one person to make that first step, to come out of that, right? And then good intent comes into good actuality, right? Becomes a truth, becomes a reality, becomes not just a habit, but a part of our life, a part of our existence, right? I don't know why this came to my mind. I'm just seeing just like turkey dinner at Christmas and the mashed carrots and turnips. Right? Those traditions that mess us up, right? It's important to be cooperative and have conversations, but for me, it's more on an individual basis. I have been part of some big groups. I've been right, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, but not everybody in that group would have been somebody I would have voted into. Now I'm just going to send some good cheer. I live behind a fire station, so hopefully they get to their destination. It's a false alarm. They turn around and they go back to the station, right? Go back to bed because I'm sure they're taking naps or trying to get a few hours sleep in between calls. And hopefully that's their last call tonight, right? It's a real quick one, real easy one. Just turn around, go right back to the station. Yeah, so for me, I've always been in groups. I wanted to have friends. I always wanted to feel like I belonged. And going to all those different schools growing up, I was always looking to recreate myself and make it so that I could be one of the popular kids, right? That I don't know what it was that I felt that I needed to be one of the popular kids. It was hard, right? Being an unpopular kid, you have a lot of free time on your hand. You do have a lot because you're isolating yourself usually quite often, right? And it makes it so that we can become very socially awkward, and at the same time we can develop coping mechanisms and bodily releases, like puberty and the zits and the oh my goodness, right? School dances and being the wallflower. And I'm just thinking of analogies, trying to use my own experience. I am grateful for the few friends that I had, but that's the way that I liked it. That's the way I appreciated it. It was too overwhelming for a lot of people. And I have been, like I said, in those big groups, those cool groups, the cool people. I got in there, right? And it wasn't that hard, right? Surprisingly, it wasn't. But sometimes we think it's out of reach for us because we're not pretty enough or smart enough or athletic enough. But sometimes, right? Remember what I said, that we all have handicaps, and some of those handicaps are not visible. 50-50, right? You're missing a finger off your hand, you're missing an arm, maybe you're blind or deaf. Those are all visible, right? But what about those emotional issues, those dynamic families like my own that I grew up in, that kind of makes us a little bit socially awkward, right? To be a little bit introverted and a little bit inside of ourselves. It makes it so for the norm, we don't want to be a big part of those groups. All I ever wanted was a few close, tight friends, but I also wanted to be part of the cool gang. And the one thing I learned about the cool gang is that the cool gang is a gang. It's just a lot of cool people, right? Who think they're cool because they're only in relation to themselves, right? And how they treat other people to make them recognize, right? That possibly they wouldn't be considered one of the cool ones, right? But it causes us lots of problem. I've been watching the Big Bang Theories, little shorts and stuff. It wasn't a television show. I was never a big TV fan. I liked movies on occasion, reality TV. I can't even do reality TV anymore. It just looks so phony baloney to me, right? I can't believe that I actually auditioned to be on Big Brother Canada. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm just gonna whoop butt. Would it work for me? Because those values come with the lying, and so it's really, really hard, right? I don't want people to ask me questions and I kind of go, right, and people know that I'm keeping a secret, right? That's just as much lying as coming outright and lying. You know, I understand little white lies, but I don't even want to do the little white lies, right? My dad was big on little white lies. I tell you, it didn't matter. Women could have like pink and green and purple hair all up in braids that stick up on the ends like Pippi Longstockings, blue eyeshadow up over the eyebrows and the big black lipstick and right, some funky outfit. And my dad would make that woman feel like a princess, feel like she was the most beautiful, right, person in the world. And you know what? My dad looked in the inside first before he looked on the outside of people. But he wasn't blind. He just knew that, those smiles, those little opportunities, because that's service, right? That's service when you serve a compliment. And, you know, it's it's not, I was going to say, it's not a lie, those little white lies, because it's the intent to make somebody feel good about the moment or feel good about themselves when they don't feel good about themselves, or they feel really good about themselves and they're getting the side eye from people as they're walking down the sidewalk. That, that one person that can put themselves in that person's shoes and say, what would make that person feel good? And if that was me, you would have said, cleaning out the whole closet, get her home and get her into some of those projects. That's exactly what she needs to do, right? But my dad would look at people and would just say, oh, right, a nice compliment about the outfit, the hair, or that blue eyeshadow that took them probably an hour in its detailing to get it the way it was, right? So I'm not opposed to the little white lies. It's the outright lies and the omission because, well, as highly sensitives and as empaths, right, we can read that, right? And we might not be able to get the answer, whatever the question was, and we got that, and you can just see that somebody knows exactly what the answer is, but they're not telling you. They're just doing the shrug and changing the subject, right? Yeah, right. That's a lie. That's right, because we might not know what it is, what the answer is, but we can see that you're holding something back. And, if somebody asks a question, if you have that answer, right? It's only an answer. It's not going to cost you anything. You don't have to open up your wallet, right? It's a question. And if you have that answer and you have 1 minute, right, to offer up somebody or just a business card to say, give me a shout or message me later, right? And I'd be happy to help you out. Okay, you guys, are we going to pull a card tonight? I am bagged. I can always tell when it's bedtime because right, when I get caught in my lives like this and I just start babbling away. Yeah, I know. I've had a full day, but I have had a good full day. So that's 2 days in a row, right? Tomorrow is dusting and wash the floors day, and then it'll just be spotless, right? And then the next day will be a Mother Nature Day and visit my sister, right? We're staying busy, staying grounded, right? Don't have a minute to minute schedule, but there are things that I need to get done, but done slowly, done comfortably, whistling while I'm work, taking in the lessons, being grateful that the lessons are coming across my path, right? And just understand I'm going to still be here tomorrow, right? Everything is going to be okay. Not just for me, right? But for everybody. Everybody's in that hairy, scary mode. Just thinking of my sister, Tracy, right now. She has to go in for an operation. I want to see her before she goes in. Okay, you guys, 2 minutes. This is the card. This is 54 powerful words. It's just a word. So we're just going to run with the perspective. It's this bottom card. Integrity. Oh my goodness. I want to see what I wrote down for this word. Trying to remember where I put that. So I wanted to do some work in it. Oh, down here. Okay. Integrity, you guys, is the word. First thing that comes to my mind is values, right? Being able to set values and stick to those values, not just for myself, how I come to the table, but holding others accountable if they're in my vicinity, right? In my choices, in that community that I'm building one by one, right? And we're just going to see what number integrity was. Integrity. Oh my goodness, I can't even find it here. That's how late it is. I don't mean to do this while I'm doing right in the middle of my live here. Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to find it. Here it is. Integrity, number 22. I haven't even finished writing these cards out, and it's not even on my to-do list. There were a couple of things that didn't make it to my to-do list, and I'm going to end up doing them anyway. And right, it's just going to, I'll never get this stuff done. Okay, number 22. Integrity. It's the example to others, right? Integrity is going to draw you to people that are looking to find people in their lives that they can trust, that they can be themselves, that have values that are the same or similar, like we were talking about, right? With us. And we admire that, right? Even in my mentorship, even in the thought leaders out there that I look to take lessons from, right? Integrity is huge. And yet each one of those mentors, teachers, thought leaders, helpers, they're so different from each other. And that wasn't my intent, right? To have them so varied. But what I was looking for was what I related to, what was helping me, what was relevant. And it just screamed at me that this was important. And not literally scream at me like that, but that draw, that curiosity, that interest to delve in deeper, taking that lesson, sitting in on that conversation or that seminar, or whoever's speaking in a university. I sit in that, right? It's a Google Talk, or I haven't watched a Google Talk in a long time. I can't remember the last one I watched. Google Talks. Yeah, I do like the Google Talks. Um, but yeah, so integrity is it's the example that we set for others, right? That's where our admiration is, because if we're looking to get the respect, if we're looking to draw people towards us. We should only be setting those standards for ourselves that we expect in our interactions with others. And, it takes a while to find them. Like I said, I was in those big groups and I might have resonated with one or two of them. And the other ones were maybe a friend of his, but then his friend had 20 other friends and they would, right? It was just a big crew of cool people, right? Who like to do concerts and house parties and club and dance and party and it was fun, right? But also at the same time, that was a lot of energy to be around. So, integrity is actually a good word because when I pick up people along the way, from now on, right? I wasn't too picky until half a dozen years, and I've been right shedding more people than bringing people on board. But I think that's my prerogative, isn't it? Because I'm searching out people who are, I was going to say, searching out me, right? Because it's in that social aspect. Because, right, sitting at my desk, just sitting here taking in lessons, I am not going to meet people in that cooperation and in that partnership with others, right? That's where the real movement is going to be. But, right, again, when you're looking to pick up people singularly along the way, and then all of a sudden crash into a club, right? It could be unbalancing. It could be. It could be triggering. It could be scary. It could be confusing. It could be difficult, right? I have tried in my introductions in different networks, but, right, I am I'm a strange bird, maybe, right? I come from a dynamic family. I'm dynamic for myself, right? And I share this journey, and that would be really difficult to build on large group relation. Well, maybe it wouldn't because I'd probably just pull them into the content and make each one of those characters offer up something in a lesson for others. I would make it work, adapt and conquer. But again, it's those souls. And I should have that choice. If I'm going to put myself in that energy, it should be my choice because there are people in my life that I hold dear to my heart who exist in that energy. But why would I give that energy here when I have deer here, right? Who's going to make me feel the exact same way, right? Never deny your own because in the end, that's all you've got. And I'm not just saying that for blood. I'm not just saying that because families look different for everybody, right? It takes all kinds to make the world. And I come from a dynamic family. I think most families were dynamic, right? I wasn't too sensitive for the world. I wasn't, right? Just the world was just not soft enough and ready enough for me. That's how I'm going to look at it. That's how I'm going to look at it. You guys, a little bit of integrity. It takes time, you guys, right? I've been at this for a long time, but I think I was invited to this party because there was some integrity already set in because I had come to those borders and to those breaking points and those bridges in my life where I was able to make some decisions that put me in a better atmosphere to be able to do a little bit better by myself and hopefully a little bit better by others. Okay, you guys, we're going to leave it like that. Anna, never noticed the super chat button before. Oh, you never noticed that before? Oh, maybe they took it away for a while. I don't know. I'm in all kinds of betas when it comes to my channel. I get locked down pretty good, and at the same time I don't mind because right, I am practicing my craft. Right? I think for the rest of my life I will be practicing my craft. Okay, you guys. The days my gratitude are higher than my expectations are good days. Yeah. See, that helps me out quite a bit too because I don't live too much in expectations. It's that's where expectations gets me. That's where my life will kink if I have an expectation and it goes the opposite way, like having to pay taxes for the first time in my entire life. I've always got a refund every single year, and this year I don't have to pay lots, right? But it's lots for me in the moment. And it was a surprise because that money, I expected it. That return, I expected it, right? And look what happened. I got to divvy out equal amount to what I thought it was going to get back. You adapt, you conquer, right? I don't live too much in expectations, but like you, Hannah, I am grateful, right? I am grateful. I am comfortable. I have a roof over my head. I have everything that I need. I'm making a little bit of movement. My brand is still going on here, right? I could be going 100 miles an hour. And in this moment, I am listening to myself. It might not always be that way. Okay, you guys, you have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.